Hi guys, hi. Tell me if you can hear me. Let me look if I'm on live on Facebook as well. If you can hear me, you can just type below so I know you can hear me. Hi guys, hi TikTok, hi Facebook, hi YouTube, hi everybody. Hi, if you can hear me, please type something so I can I don't know if my sound is good. I have no idea. Let me just say hello everybody. Hi. Can you hear me? Just if you can hear me, just let me know. Let me know if you can hear me so we can start answering a few questions. If you're on Facebook, I don't know if you can type and I can see it here. I see, oh, hi. Yeah, I see you can hear me. So if you have any questions, I can start by answering your questions before I talk about other stuff. Let's wait a couple of minutes to see if people join. Let's see. I see somebody typed about marriage with no marriage certificate. We'll talk about that. Let's wait a few minutes, just a few minutes for people to come live, to just give people a few minutes to join. And then we can start. If you're on Facebook, I don't know if you can see me. Can you see me on Facebook? Go on my YouTube. Anybody from Facebook who can hear me? Anybody? Let me watch myself as well.
Some of my kids are top of their class, and I fully.
Okay. Yeah, I can see myself on YouTube, so I know I'm live. I haven't come live in like forever, so kind of forgot a few stuff on here. All right. We have people watching on TikTok, watching on YouTube, and hopefully watching on Facebook. I can't confirm the Facebook. Anybody from Facebook? Anybody from Facebook? If you can type from Facebook, just say you're watching me from Facebook. That way I know like people are already there. Anybody? Hi, Michaela. Hi, Daniel. Hi, everybody. Daniel has been watching my videos since like forever. I hope he wins the green card one time. I hope he wins because he's such been a loyal follower and my subscriber. Okay, so I think we can start. Let's start. I'm going to start by answering these questions and then hopefully people will come so I don't have to repeat myself. So if you have a question, you can just type and then I'll bring your comment up here and then we'll go from there. So let's see this one. Let's start with Mary. If you're on TikTok, I'll try to hook you up to I'll try to like invite people to join so you can come up and ask questions. But right now I'm just going to pull up comments from my YouTube and then I'm going to be answering those questions. So Mary here says, Mary Mugana, I'm married but no marriage certificate. How am I going to apply for DV next month? Should I apply single or married? So I don't know what you mean by saying you're married, but you don't have a marriage certificate, because if you didn't legalize the marriage, then you're not married, right? So if you don't have a marriage certificate because you never legalized that union, then you should apply as unmarried. But if you just got married, but then maybe you misplaced the marriage certificate, you don't know where it is, or maybe you never picked it up, but you legalized somewhere, you went to the AG or you went to church and then you applied for a marriage license and then you got a marriage certificate after your union, then you should apply as married. But if you don't have anything legally, you don't have any paperwork to show, you don't have any marriage, like the affidavit of marriage, you don't have that, then you need to apply as unmarried. Why? Because if you apply as married and then you go to the, you go to the, eventually you'll end up in the interview. When you go to the interview, they will ask you, okay, you applied as married, where is your marriage certificate? And then you present your marriage certificate, right? And then once you present your marriage certificate, then he will ask you, when did you get married? And then you'll say, I got married in December of 2025. But you applied for your green card in October of 2025. So how are you married in December? So that date on there, if it shows you got married after you applied for the green card, you will not get that visa. A lot of people worry, maybe a lot of people ask, like, why is it like a visa is not guaranteed after you win the green card? Is because of stuff like that. This is the stuff they check at the embassy. They double check what you lied on your application. If you lied and you said you're married, you don't have a marriage certificate, and now you decided to legalize it after, then you're not going to get that visa. So that's why it's important that you make sure you tell the truth. If anything, tell the truth. All right, let's go to the next one. Totally Ferry is asking, hello, if I'm a refugee in an African country, I win the DV lottery 2027 by God's grace. Will the embassy accept a refugee travel document as my passport? Yeah, usually they give like refugees. I have one who came with a travel document, like because they are, they're refugees and they want the green card. But you have to make sure, like, also, you're not a refugee from a country that's banned. If you're a refugee from a country that's banned from entering the US, then you will not get your visa. So just make sure, like, you double check that. But otherwise, you can use a travel document. I had somebody use it. Just the one person from Congo was able to do that. And that was like 3 years ago. So hopefully it's still the same. All right, so let me see another one. So Sheikh Ali is asking, my country, Sierra Leone, is under a travel ban. Can I still submit my DV lottery application by paying $2 for me and my wife on a separate application, or should I go for let go for this fiscal year? So if your country is banned, so there's a few countries in Africa which are banned. So if your country is banned, just make sure you apply for the green card lottery. Why? Because the ban is not permanent. Usually the US, like, if you check, I think it was DV 24 or 23? Tanzania was banned at that time. But then after a few months, the ban was lifted. So if you did not apply, then you can't go back and apply. So what do? So now apply for the green card. By the time you win, and then maybe you go back to the, to your interview and whatever, maybe the ban will have been lifted. So now you'll go there and then you'll get your visa. So regardless of whether your country is banned or not banned, make sure you apply for that DV lottery until you go to the interview. And or maybe if you figure out, like, okay, maybe if you're banned, and also you have to understand, like, if you're banned, they just ban you from traveling on that passport. So if you're from Sierra Leone and then you're banned and you have citizenship, like a Kenyan citizenship, or maybe you have another citizenship from Ghana, if you win the green card lottery, as much as you claim eligibility from Sierra Leone and Sierra Leone is banned, if you go to the embassy with that Kenyan passport, your second citizenship, or that passport from Ghana, they will put a visa in it. So you can get a DV lottery visa if you're from a country that's banned, as long as you travel on another passport. And I had somebody do that. I have somebody from a banned country who had like a second citizenship, a dual citizenship from another country, and they ended up putting a visa in that other passport. So just keep in mind that. So everybody should apply. No reason. Like, I feel like if you have any doubt, you have any questions about whatever questions you have, when the green card lottery opens, just apply. Don't care about what is what. Don't care, like, okay, my country is banned. Am I eligible to apply or not? Do I have the education requirement or not? Don't worry about those. Everybody needs to apply. Once you win, then worry about it. because once you win, then you'll start figuring out, okay, well, how do I go about like the work experience and education and stuff like that. But at the application stage, everybody needs to apply, because guess what? You can't go back and apply. Just apply, and then if you win, worry about what you did not have, you know. But everybody needs to apply, unless you're from a country that's not eligible. Like if you're from a country like maybe Cuba, you're from a country like, I think Brazil is also not eligible. From Africa, I know Nigeria is the only country that's not eligible to apply. So anybody, if you're born in any other African countries other than Nigeria, then apply. So that's that. Let me see another question. So this one, can you host if my side win? Somebody is like, okay, if I, can I host? I host everybody who needs hosting. Like usually hosting, I usually host people who do not have hosts. So if you have like a relative here, or you have a friend, or you have somebody else in the US, there's no point of applying for hosting with me. Like literally, you already have a host. Usually I try to help people with no host in the United States. So there's no point of you who already has a host, you take a space or you take a spot for this person who's needy and needs a host, doesn't have any host. So they miss on that opportunity for me to host them, because I'm hosting you and you have like options. So if you have a plan B, don't even apply for hosting with me, because I want people who do not have hosts only to apply. All right, let's see. Let me see a question. So are people going to pay $1 for registration? As far as I know right now, yes. But like I said, with this administration right now, like they change everything in like a day. Like literally they can wake up next week and add an additional requirement. Like they put executive orders left, right, and center. Look at what happened to H1 visa. Like you just wake up and they're like, you know what? Now to apply for H1, you'll need to pay $100,000. Before it wasn't a thing. And then they just wake up and say, okay, you have 24 hours to do this. And people are scrambling, trying to get flights to come back to the US. So what I'm saying with the current government, like I can't say everything is set on stone until the DV lottery application starts. So because people are asking, do I need a passport to apply? Just get a passport. If you're applying for DV lottery and you're planning like your end goal is to come to the US, like why don't you have a passport? So you're applying for DV hoping to win, but you don't have a passport? Start by applying that passport. Why? Because if they open the DV and then they're like, okay, now we need a passport, and then maybe your country takes 2 months to get a passport. So how are you going to apply? So make sure you apply for that passport. So if on the application they need it, then you're good. If they don't need it, then you're good. But then don't wait until to see, hoping that they don't need a passport. You'll need a passport eventually. If you win, you cannot complete the DS260. You can complete the DS260 without a passport. But anyhow, you'll need it before your interview. So just make sure you get those passports. Okay, so with the registration fee for the $1. So how that works, and it works with all other applications that you need to pay in the United States. Like if you're in the United States and then you need to pay for anything, any application, usually it will take you through the application first. So you log in or whatever, you'll sign into the page. You don't even need to log in for the DV, but you'll need to sign up, go to that website, right? You enter all your information. And then when you click submit to submit your entry, it's going to reroute you to a page where you'll need to pay for the the application. So it will let you put in the information, and then after that, then you can pay, and then that way your entry will be submitted. And if you don't make that payment, then you will not be able to completely submit your entry. So that's how it works. So I'm going to talk a little bit later about like the $1, how to pay for that and all that. I know a lot of people have that question. People in the US, they're used to paying for these things online all the time. But people in Africa, you realize like a lot of them, a lot of them don't pay for anything using a visa. They just pay cash or mobile money or something like that. So yeah, So I'll talk about that later, how to pay for that. So let me see if I have any other question here. This is the same thing. Sierra Leone, apply for the DV. If you win, the ban might be lifted at that time. So let me see. And for hosting at NAFULA Connect, is payment made in Kenya or after arriving? I do payment after arrival. Why? Because if you pay on the website, sometimes it has some fees. And also, I try to eliminate like scams. You know, a lot of people are scammed with hosting. Like when I started, that's why I don't like TikTok. Like if you realize, like I'm rarely on TikTok because TikTok, like a lot of profiles, people created a lot of profiles using my name. A lot of people got scammed, including Steve. Steve, I'm hosting Steve. Steve got scammed on Instagram, on TikTok, using my name. So he paid somebody else and then messaged me. First, he applied for hosting. I got back to him. And then he went quiet because he started communicating with somebody else on Instagram. And he had my personal number. So he ended up getting scammed. And then when he came back, and then he's like, I paid this amount. And I'm like, where did you pay? I didn't even know what he was talking about. Then he realized there's multiple pages with my name and my images on the social media. That's why my Facebook is verified. So if you're talking to somebody on Facebook who has my name and is not verified, then that's not me. So all the payment, I encourage people for payment, you pay on arrival, because on arrival, there's no scamming. You'll see me there, I'll be at the airport, and then you'll pay on arrival. No scams, no nothing. So that's how it works. All right, let's see. Felistas from Kiambu, he said, so he has a diploma in, or maybe she, secretary or something. What is this equivalent to? So usually with the education requirement, I advise people, like if you have anything else other than a degree, you went to university and you got a degree, apply as high school, like you completed high school. And why do I say that? I say that because when you apply as high school, it's very easy to prove at the embassy. When you place that application, like every information you're entering on that application page, you have to ask yourself, you're like, if they ask me a question to back this, whatever I said, do I have anything to show? So if you don't, then don't put it on there. Because if you say you have a diploma, then you decide to say some university courses, and then you go there, and even that school is not even considered a college, then you're just putting yourself into just providing more additional documentation that you don't need. And some people, it depends with the embassy. Some embassies usually are very, very, I don't know, they just like to give people a hard time. So you can say, I completed maybe some university college credits, whatever. And then when you go there, they ask you, can you bring transcript from that college? And then you realize you went to that college for 2 years and you never paid tuition. So you owe money. You owe that school money. So you go there, they're like, okay, you need to pay before we give you your transcripts. But because your embassy requires them, then you're forced to pay money on courses that you're never going to use in the United States. You know what I mean? So if you don't have a degree, right, apply as high school, because high school is easy to prove. As much as, sometimes even other people who graduated the university, maybe you went there to university, you graduated, you have your degree, but because you didn't pay, you still owe the school balance, and they're not going to give you your degree and they're not going to give you your transcripts. Just apply as high school. Because guess what? You go to the university, you go to the interview, they usually ask you questions that you put on your application and your DS260. So if you have your DS260, it says high school, that person will just ask you, where is your high school diploma? Or if you verified it online, like in Kenya, and then they have to send those documents to the embassy directly, then it will be there. Your high school will be there. So just try to avoid a lot of documentation or somebody asking you to provide documentation of something. So that's it. I encourage people, if you can do high school, you're good. With the DV lottery, when you apply and you put university, It's not like a job application where like, okay, you have more education, so you know you have more qualifications or whatever. It's a random selection. So you can have a PhD and somebody with high school or somebody with no high school at all gets selected, and you with your PhD or your master's, you don't get selected. So putting education like you went to, you know, post graduate education or whatever will not help you. It's just a random selection. So that's that. Let's go to the next one. So let's see what Collins has to say. So my question is, I have a friend. We met at the beginning of the month, want to make her my girlfriend and maybe my wife in the future. Can I include her in my current application? Absolutely not. Why would you include your girlfriend? You only include somebody that you're married. So if you marry your girlfriend before the application opens in October, then you can include that girlfriend. But if you're like your girl, you're still your girlfriend, you don't have any legal paperwork to prove that you're married, then if you win, you're going to have a problem because you're not going to get a visa. So you'll be denied a visa for adding a girlfriend who wasn't your wife at the time of application. Don't make things complicated for you. If it's a girlfriend, if you love her, marry her and add her to the application. Okay, let's see. My question, loyal follower. So is a passport requirement this time around? Like I talked about the passport and I said, I can tell you it's not required. Like this current administration does something, like they do stuff that have never been done before. So what if I tell you, no, there's no passport requirement, and then you go and then on the application day, like a day before, they say like, okay, passports are required. So if you think passport is going to be an issue, just apply for a passport. Instead of asking me if they'll need a passport, you're planning to come to the US on a DV lottery. That's why you're applying. You should or you need to be having a passport. So somebody's asking about the payment mode. This one I'm going to cover later. So let's see. So this one, Judith, is a DV 2026 from Kenya, 44K, likely to get a visa. So with this, I don't have a definitive answer right now to tell you that DV 2026, 44K, you're going to get a visa. Why? Because they haven't even started processing DV lottery winnings for DV 2026. They start in October. So you cannot tell how an embassy performs based on of like just guesswork. You have to wait until that embassy is working and then they're scheduling people. And then based off how they're scheduling people, then you can be able to gauge a little bit. But you can't just, I can't tell you on top of my head, 44K, you're going to get a visa. Why? Because like, look at what happened in 23. 23, 35K did not get a visa. In Nairobi Embassy, 2024, somebody with 119,000 got a visa. 2025, somebody with a 26K did not get a visa at Nairobi Embassy. So the embassy works like they're a little bipolar. So sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. So I cannot tell you, especially Nairobi Embassy is one of those embassies that are very unpredictable. They do whatever they want. They do for whatever they want. And you know, the thing is like, if you're outside the United States, usually you don't have like a lot of, like you cannot sue somebody, you cannot like get a lawyer to do anything because you're not, you know, you're not in the United States. So like if you're a DV winner, you can't even sue anybody. But if sometimes you're here and then you apply for an immigrant visa and maybe something, they delay your case, you can sue them or whatever because you're here. But if you're over there, they think, you know, DV lottery is a privilege, it's not a right. So whatever they do, nobody will go after them. I remember after DV 2023, there was a lot of buzz on Twitter. There was a lot of buzz on Twitter in DV 2023. After the 35,000 people, like a lot of people did not get a visa in Nairobi Embassy. I remember Twitter went crazy. There was this hashtag. The hashtag was like tagging like Embassy of Nairobi, blah, blah, blah. And it went viral. And DV 2024, they seemed to correct their mistake and they did really well. But then guess what? They're just back to where they were. Now it's even worse because somebody with a 26K did not get a visa. Will not get a visa, like I will speak. Like that's not good. All right, let's see. So my question is, after someone traveling alone, is it possible for her to bring her kids later? Apply, she wrote single with no kids. No. So Clarice Shiaka, if you don't include your kids in the application, bringing them later becomes a problem. And I know you've heard somebody come and tell you that they were able to do that. They were successful. There are some people like who did not include their kids in the application initially, but then after they became citizens, they went and filed for these kids to come. And because somebody did not review the application really well, those kids were able to get a visa and they were able to land here. And then that's how you're seeing, oh, you're there's this, like you're hearing in the news, in the media, whatever, they're talking about people getting deported after getting citizenship. Is for stuff like that. Because sometimes you might get in trouble for something else, and then they start looking at your immigration case, and then they say, okay, this person is a citizen, they have a kid, how did they apply, how did they get here? Oh, they applied as DV. Oh, so if they apply at DV, oh, how many kids did they add? And there was a Somali lady who that happened to, and they took her citizenship away. So the fact that people are getting away with doing that, it doesn't mean that you should do that. Why? Because you live in the United States, but then you have that worry at the back of your head that one day they will catch up with you. And in America, you don't want to be in a situation where you do something immigration wise that you think like somebody will be able to catch up with you, because guess what? America, it might take 30 years, but then they will catch up with you. For some reason, this country is a little bit weird. It's not like Africa, where somebody can get away with something for like forever. So here, even people, like you get some people, maybe there was this, I don't know if you heard this story online, where somebody from Kenya was connecting people with spouses in America. So like, I have friends, maybe American friends, and then I'll pay them and then tell them go back to Kenya and marry somebody. And then you go to the embassy, apply for a marriage certificate, whatever, marriage visa, spousal visa, and then you come to America. That was happening for the longest time, because somebody helped one person and it worked. And then after it worked, they're like, what if I turn this into a business? So they started getting more people. They'll get American people, they go marry somebody, they bring them over here. Once they land here, they divorce this person, right? And they turn around and go back to Africa and marry somebody else and then bring them over here. But then they did that for the longest time until the last person was caught. Once this person was caught, because American people, let me tell you one thing about American people. Once you're in a mess and then they get caught, trust me, they're saving their life. They are saving their behind. They're not caring about you. So once this person was caught, they're like, guess what? I'm going to tell you what happened. This person told me to do this and that and that and that. And after that, they start going back and back to these cases that happened. Okay, this person, we caught this person. So let's go back with its paper trail. So everybody who ever got a visa, even if it was 20 years ago, even if it was 25 years ago, as much as this one person links to you, you're losing that citizenship. You're losing everything you ever worked for. So you lived in this country for 30 years, you lived in this country for 10 years, you got into a fraud marriage, somebody was like, pays this person money and get married. And then this person marries you, divorces you, goes to somebody, marries them, divorces them. Once this person marries the third, the fourth, once they catch up with the fourth one, they start looking at these 3 previous marriages. That's how America works. So if you commit a fraud, something that's fraudulent, or if you lie in your application, especially immigration, you'll just leave knowing that one day they might find out. And like I said, you apply adding no kids, and then you become a citizen, you bring your kids. One time, maybe you get caught with DUI, or somebody upsets you and then you just like fight them and then they get hurt. And then now you have an assault case or whatever, regardless of, whatever the outcome is. of the fight. Maybe they died, and then now you're in for degree murder, So once you get in trouble, they look back, especially if you're an immigrant, if you are not born here. Make sure, like, I know you might be good, but you'll just leave knowing that they will catch up with you. There's one time, like, there's this person who had, I think it was from Kenya too, who was committing like a Medicaid fraud. So like they had a nursing home or had nursing. It was a long time ago. Like I don't remember the story really well, but like it was like they had a nursing home, and then because Medicaid reimburses people who are in a nursing home, so they were doing providing fraudulent services, and then they will bill for them. And they did that for years, and they were millionaires in America, Kenyans, millionaires in America. It just took one click. And then they're like, okay, so this happened. Let's go back and see if it ever happened again. And then they realize, whoa, this has been happening for the longest time. So you go from a millionaire into having nothing and jailed, So this is a very easy thing to do. Like if you have a kid, just take the picture and add them to your application. People who are married are winning. And if you add your kid to your application, just know that even if you don't have money, you can come by yourself. Or if you add your wife and your kids and then you don't have money, you can come alone. But because they were in that initial application, you can always bring them here without worrying about there's going to be a target on your back at some point. Because guess what? You did all your immigration paperwork right. Immigration in America, fraud, like if one person, like I said, there's some people who are like, they know somebody. Sometimes I post videos on my YouTube. So if you're on Facebook, you might want to go to my YouTube channel because I have a lot of educational videos. And I post videos and I say, like, immigration can catch up with you. And then somebody's like, yeah, I know a lady who was in Texas who was working with somebody else's ID, but now they're American US citizens. And I'm just thinking, like, whoever committed the crime, the fact that this one person is putting a comment on my YouTube saying they know about it, that's a reason for you to get worried. Because what if that person types it to the wrong page? Or maybe this person, they're like, okay, they pin him down, tell us who this person is. And then they come back and start looking at the paper trail. So here, for one thing, if you're here, you don't have papers, stop telling people you don't have papers. Just interact with people very well. If you go to African parties or whatever, you don't go over there spreading like, I don't have papers, I'm here illegally, or you're telling friends I'm here illegally. Just be quiet, just do your thing. You applied for immigration benefits, just be quiet about it. Because not everybody's happy for your success or for whatever you're doing. So just, if you're quiet, if they don't know about it, they don't know what to fight. But then if you're going out there and you're telling them about you, then they have a reason to fight you, Anyhow, that was a long about that. But anyhow, what I'm trying to say is, like, try to be truthful. Or if you want to lie, make a lie that you can rectify. Some people will be like, okay, I'm married. Maybe my husband doesn't want to apply. I'm going to apply as unmarried and add my kids and go to America. If you still want this guy to come, you can go back to Africa and marry them and bring them here. You see, that can be corrected that way. But if then you don't add kids, like, you can't say that, especially if you're a man, sometimes they get away with it by saying, I had this kid with this woman, but she never told me. So I didn't know I had a kid. So some men like get away with that. But if you're a woman, there's no way you'll tell me in 9 months, you didn't know you were pregnant and you gave birth to a whole human. So if you're a woman and you're lying, and I see people who lied in the application, they don't have kids, You're over there, the Instagram has pictures of your babies. Oh, happy birthday, son, happy birthday, daughter, happy birthday, this. You don't know who's watching your Instagram, who's watching your Facebook, who's watching that social media. What if somebody says that and then is like, okay, so how was she able to go? Somebody like that, just give a tip to the immigration, then that's it. They just put a target on your head. And that's what people are doing right now. You get people who are like African people over here, not necessarily Kenyans, but African people, I don't know what's wrong with us, because somebody will see that and they will report. They're like, okay, look at this. they have kids. Why did they, how check their immigration status? So just be quiet. And also, I see people doing like the dumbest mistakes sometimes. I know I don't like to get into people's affairs. I like to keep my own lane or whatever. But I'm gonna tell you one thing. You get like a spouse, or you get like a wife or a husband has been here in America, and then meet somebody in Africa, and they go bring that spouse over here. And then once they bring that spouse over here, after a while, this person, this lady or this man leaves them. It happens all the time. Like, trust me, everybody who brings somebody here, there's a like, I should put like 80% chance that they'll get a divorce. They never stay together. So only very few who bring their spouses here actually stay together. People who stay together, they were married for a very long time. They had a bunch of kids over there. They had a family. But this new relationship, new couples, 2, 3, 5 years, they come, they file for them. They never stay together. So you get people who file for somebody to come here. And then once they come here, they start breaking up. And then once you break up, you have a green card and you're on social media advertising how you left this American citizen. And you're not scared in this administration. This administration doesn't play. Like the stuff I do a lot of, I help with immigration stuff, and like, it's not good. If you were brought here by an American citizen and you have a green card and you leave them, just be quiet. Just be quiet. Don't start on social media or whatever happened. Because, like I said, maybe you are brought here and then you have a conditional 2-year conditional green card. Maybe you'll need, after 2 years, you need to remove those conditions and you will not be with this American citizen. And the fact that you're posting these videos, proud of how you left this American citizen, something like that can make you like, people are not getting their conditions removed because of stupid stuff like that. Or maybe you have a green card and you think you're untouchable, and then you apply for your citizenship. Now, before it never used to be like that, but now you apply for citizenship, they start checking this green card. You came here on a spousal visa. Why are you not together? You left them after 3 months. So if you left them after 3 months, then, or after a year, was this even marriage genuine? Did you use this person to get immigration benefits? So sometimes I know you're out there and you want to be like, go out and be proud of how you left this American citizen, how you gave them character development, how you did that. You have to think about yourself. You have to think about Trump administration doesn't care about no immigrant. If you're here and they think something is a fraud, they will deny you those benefits and you will not sue anybody. Just know that this person who brought you here, they are citizens already. They have nothing to lose. But you have your green card. You can lose it. Green card, before it was like, okay, once you have a green card, now green card is just having a visa. So you play around a little bit. Somebody files a valid case and they have a valid case on you. They can take that green card away. This administration can. So I'm just trying to advise people out there, like, if somebody brings you over here, you leave them, just go underground, get your citizenship, then start making noise. But if you have a green card, sometimes you never know who's watching. And like I said, before this current administration, it was not an issue. But with Trump's administration, you're out there being proud of being brought by somebody and you leave them. Don't play with that, especially if you're online. It's not my, like I said, it's not my life, it's your life. But like, I'm just advising, if you're out there and you don't know, stuff is happening right now and it's not good. Okay, anyhow, let's go to the second question. Let me go to another question. All right. So I did diploma in business management from Mount Kenya University. Should I use it to or use my KC? If it's a diploma, you're not sure if it's a degree, apply as high school. Easy to prove. That's all I can say. All right. What is this one? What of the kids? Can I include them through, though we don't have a marriage certificate? Their birth certificate holds my name. Yes. So if you're married to somebody, no, you're not married. So if you stay with somebody and you have 10 children, you have 5, you have 2, you can include that kid on your application. People are worried. They're like, okay, if I go there, they will ask me, what happened to the dad. They won't ask you. If you go there and you want to immigrate with the kids, they will just ask consent from the other parent. So if the other parent is on the birth certificate, then you'll need to get consent from the other parent to continue like with the processing. For them to get a visa, you need consent from the other parent. If that parent is not on the birth certificate, maybe you are raped and then you don't know the father, so you didn't put the father in the birth certificate, the better. You don't even need consent because you have full legal custody of this kid. But then you can include them. If you have, maybe you're married and then you have a kid with somebody else before your marriage, you can apply as married, add all these kids who are in this current marriage, and then add this other kid who's with the other baby mama, because they're all your kids. If you're over there, you're a man, you were in another relationship and got like 3 children, you marry somebody who has 2 children, apply as married and you have to add all the 5 children. So if you're married and then you don't add your stepchildren in that application and they find out, you will not get a visa. And if you marry somebody, you do not need to adopt their children. The fact that you're married to the mother or you're married to the father makes you a parent. You don't need to adopt them. They're your kids by default. So you only adopt kids who you're not married to the other parent. Okay. So let's go to the next one. So should DV photos show shoulders? So I don't know. They're asking like if you don't, how are you know, like, okay, all right. Let me go to the photo requirements. Let's do that, right? Or let me do that last because that's going to be a long one. We'll do photo requirements. People are like, you should show shoulders, you should have no shoulders. I don't know. Like, I don't know where people get all that stuff. Like literally the DV Lottery website has photo requirements on there. And they have examples of the photos that you can use on their website. So if you have any questions, don't listen to that somebody from the cyber. Don't listen to somebody online who's typing random stuff. Double check from the Department of State website that usually has .gov at the end. And we'll go over that like towards the end of the live. Just remind me to do those and then remind me to do the $1 that I need to do. That's like the most asked question. Okay. This is about the dollar. So I have a marriage certificate, but separated. How can you apply? You can apply as separated. And then just know, like, if you apply as separated, you have to have legal separation documents, not just like by mouth and go to the embassy and be like, I'm separated. No. To apply as separated, you can just go to whatever lawyer over there, get legal separation from your wife, and then just apply as separated. That should work. All right, let's see. What is it? Or somebody's asking, they need to know everything about DV Lottery. Yeah, I'm glad you asked. If you go to my YouTube channel, there's a video or videos I've done about DV Lottery application, photo requirements, documents they need at the embassy. Everything you need to know is going to be on my YouTube channel. So go to NAFULA SHARLEEN YouTube channel. You get all that information because there's a lot. I can't go over everything. All right. Can I be your friend? I'm from Nigeria. Sure. I love friends. Let's see. I'm married, but my marriage certificate, no marriage certificate because my wife does not have a birth certificate. Do I apply as single but included my children? So if you do not have a marriage certificate, you're not married. To be married, you have to have a marriage certificate or affidavit of marriage. So if you don't have that, then you're unmarried. So you can apply as unmarried, include all the children, and she can apply as unmarried and include all the children. If one of you win, you just marry the other one and then you come together. Simple. So that's how that works. Let's see. And then somebody's asking, can I send you my details to apply for me, please? I won't let you down. I get this question all the time. Like my Facebook is just full of people who want me to apply for them. And then look at it this way. I'm spending hours of my time recording videos. The videos need to be edited. Videos need to be posted. I'm posting all this information about the passport requirements and everything. Can I do all that and still come back and apply for you? Seriously, I do all that. So what's the point of doing all that? The reason why I do that is because I want to give everybody the education to apply, so that you can apply for your neighbor, apply for your sister, your brother, your parent, apply for everybody. Once you have all that information that I'm giving you, is the same information I use to apply. And like I said, if you haven't seen my post on Facebook, I discourage people from having other people apply for them. Why are you having somebody in America apply for you? Because on the DV Lottery website, if you go there to apply, as long as your picture is 600 by 600 pixel, even if it's a picture of a dog, it's gonna accept it, as long as the dimensions are correct. It doesn't look and say, oh, this is not a face of a human. It doesn't know how to tell that. It only knows how to tell the size. So what if I apply for you and I put a picture of a dog instead of you? Then you will not win. But if you apply for yourself, you cannot put a picture of a dog. You'll make sure you put the correct picture. So that's why some of you maybe have not won the green card, because you're sending it to people who are not even applying for you. They're just applying with wrong information. And for the DV lottery, I really, really insist on the picture, because with the picture, if it doesn't meet requirement, you get disqualified at the application stage. You click submit, it doesn't even go through. You are disqualified. You'll get a confirmation number, but it will be disqualified because it didn't meet requirements. That's why the photo needs to meet requirements, because that's where you can be disqualified at the application stage. Another thing is, like, if you enter kids who are over 21, if your kid is over 21 and it says you do not enter kids who are, you have to enter kids who are 20 years and below, then that's just getting your entry disqualified. Simple stuff like that. Picture and that. Usually they can disqualify you at the application stage. So I'm teaching you here. You're here. If you have any questions about application, just ask me. Because guess what? I'm like, even people who applied for hosting, a lot of people who applied for hosting applied from Africa or these other countries outside the United States. I've rarely met somebody who applied, somebody else applied them for them in the US and they won in the recent years. Long time it used to work. But like last year, within the last 2-3 years, like if somebody applies for you, and I'm just thinking, I was like, what if the IP address is linking to the current address? You know, if your IP of your computer is in Africa, and then the IP of the computer is in the US, and then you're over there, the current address is Africa. So how are you in Africa and America at the same time? So sometimes you just ruin your chances of getting, selected. Just apply where you are. IP address is gonna ping where you are, current address and everything. Apply for yourself. There's no point of somebody applying for you. So that's that. All right. Let me see another good question here. So somebody is asking, they are a police officer, should I use my certificate for training back at college or up for, if your certificate is a degree, then you can apply as degree. Usually it has like, if you go and watch my video on how to apply, because the video is on my channel, it's also on my YouTube, on how to apply, I went over all those questions. You will see how to enter the education. Like you look at whatever I explained and then look at your certificate. Is it a degree? Is it a diploma? Is it a what? And then you know where to put that. And if you're unsure, enter high school. If you're unsure, always select high school. All right, let's see. So I think most of these questions being asked, I already answered. Let's see. So this one I didn't include kids in the original application. and in DS to 60, do I stand a chance of visa approval? So if you go there and then they don't find out you had any kids, and they don't find out, then how will they know? A lot of people have come this way. The only problem, going back to get them might be a problem. But then, like, going for the interview, you just go over there, you're like, I'm single, no kids. Nobody will tell. They don't know you, do they? They don't know you. So that's that. So somebody's asking, my 4-month-old baby, probably they don't have a passport. I don't know if you talk about the passport, the document, or the passport, the picture. If it's a picture, all of your kids will need a picture. Anybody who's getting included in the application needs to have the photo, and then it needs to meet requirements. So all the pictures need to be 600 by 600 and need to meet all the requirements. If you're taking pictures of kids, usually they're very lenient. Like if they don't look at the camera or stuff like that, it's not a big issue. So with the young kids, they're a little lenient. As long as it's 600 by 600, it should be fine. All right, let's see. Okay, I think I answered most of the questions here. Let me see. Can I schedule an interview alone as a principal applicant, then schedule for my family later, after we have submitted all our DS to 60? No, so with the interview, usually when you go there, if you're going with them, then you go with them to the interview. But then if you're planning to go with them, but you're not ready for the money, they will hold your visa until you're ready to bring those stuff in. So you'll be just there waiting, and you might wait until you lose your chance. So when you win, just decide, am I going with my kids or not? If you're going with your kids, include them. If you don't have the money, you can just come and then like go get them later. 3 years, 4 years is not too long. So there's that. All right. Let me see. So somebody's asking about religious. Like if you have a scarf, that's fine. If it's religious related, don't just put like something on your head. If it's like a Muslim or whatever, Indian or so that is fine. Like if it's religious, you're wearing it for religious reasons. Otherwise, you're not supposed to have any head covering. You're not supposed to have a hat on. And you have to, when I say like you have to show your hairline, it doesn't mean like you have to have hair. Like the hairline is different from hair as long as it's there, like you can see the front of the face. So then that's fine. All right, so, all right, let me talk about the $1. So you'll be applying and then you'll be paying the $1. The information is just like out there, like it's a developing story. Like, I don't know if it's already on the DVLottery website. I'm not very sure because the last time it wasn't even on there. But so the $1 if you have to pay. So I heard, don't quote me, if you apply and you include derivatives, like every derivative has to pay $1. So if you have like a husband, wife, and 3 kids, then that'll be $5. I heard that on one side. And then there's another side that says it's only $1. So don't quote me on that, but it might be like you pay the $1 per person who's on the application. Like I said, don't quote me on that. I'm not an immigration lawyer either. So that's one. So why is it the one? Oh my God, I don't know what's falling over here. Yeah. So the $1, you pay that. And why is the $1? A lot of people are asking the $1. Why did they implement the $1? And I'm asking myself too. Like after all these years, DV lottery started in 1995. The first DV was DV 1995. So from 1995, almost 30 years later, now you realize you need administrative costs to process the DV lottery application. After all those years, 30 years down the line, now they realize they need, but anyhow, it's there. So you have to embrace it if you have to apply for it, right? So the DV lottery, the $1, they're doing that. One is to just get rid of fraudulent, erroneous applications. That's one. Why do I say that? Like, for example, last year and the year before, when people like did not know how to apply, or even if they knew how to apply, they will go to a cyber cafe. They will sit down when the entry period, like between October and November, and they will complete a whole application and attach a fake picture just to try, Like they will go complete the application, put a fake picture, get a confirmation so that they know how to apply. So when they come to apply, they will have known how to apply. So you get like somebody going and putting like 3 erroneous applications to just trial to see if it works before they come. So like if they put 3, they're going to put theirs as the 4th, but because they're using a fake picture or a picture of a cow, it doesn't affect the entry. But then what it's doing is just creating a lot of applications that are not real. A lot of applications that is just like reducing other people's chances of winning just because you're putting like these fraudulent applications or erroneous applications. So if they implement the $1, I guarantee you, nobody is going to go there and then is going to sit down and pay $1 to do a trial application. So now you'll see probably the application entries will significantly reduce because guess what? Nobody's paying $1 for no reason, right? So that's one. Number 2, they charge you $1 so that they know that this person who's applying is a real person. They can link your name. You have your Visa card there, which is linked to your M-Pesa or is linked to your bank. So they know this is a real person. You have a bank account, so they have information about you, right? So that's another reason maybe they wanted to put the application, to put the $1. So they have real people, real person applying for the green card. So how do you pay for this, the $1? A lot of people who are in Kenya or in these countries, they're asking like, okay, we don't have Visa. And like a lot of people in Kenya, they don't have debit cards. I know you just use the M-Pesa or whatever. Or they have debit cards. They got it from the bank, never used it once. They don't even know where it is. So they don't have the card, right? So I'm going to tell you how people who I host, they pay. So if you have M-Pesa app is not going to work for you. M-Pesa, you have M-Pesa, that's not going to work for you because you cannot pay. It's not a pay bill number or like somebody send money on M-Pesa. That's not going to work. So what you do, you go on the App Store or you go on, what is this Android one? Google Play, right? You go to Google Play and then you're going to download M-Pesa Global. It's called M-Pesa Global, I believe. So once you get M-Pesa Global, you download it and install it on your phone. And then once you install that app, then you're going to go in there and you're going to create M-Pesa Global Virtual Visa Card. And that Visa card is going to look just like a regular credit or debit card. So it will have like, how many numbers does it have? Does it have like 16 numbers on the top? So you'll be asked to enter the numbers at the top, which is going to be like 16 numbers. They will ask you for the expiration date, which is going to be a month and a year. And then they will ask you for a security code, which is going to be like 3 numbers. And then you can enter that. So you can enter all that information. So you can use this M-Pesa Global card to actually pay online for your DVLottery application. And that's how I know that because a lot of people, I have a website. So usually payment is usually they pay through my website or in person. So I deal with that a lot. And they've been able to pay on my website fine. So I think it should work on the DV lottery. So also, like now that I'm talking about that, I'm going to also talk about, so with this M-Pesa thing, you realize like a lot of people who go to get other people apply for them, you have to be very careful because let me tell you, scammers are already jumping on this thing like never before. Why is that? Because if you go to the cyber cafe and then you have that M-Pesa Global Virtual Card, it's just like a debit card. It's linking to your money in the bank, in the M-Pesa over there, they use it as a bank, right? So it's linking it to your M-Pesa bank. So if you go to a cyber cafe and then somebody has a way of like recording those numbers with the expiration date, with the security code, literally you can walk out of that cyber cafe and this person can go online and buy everything they want with that card. So what am I trying to say? what I'm trying to say is like, if you apply and you create that M-Pesa, Visa, whatever card, make sure you apply for yourself, because you cannot steal from yourself. Just go take a photo. If you don't know how to take a photo, like go to a studio, get like a 600 by 600 pixel pictures that meet requirement. Just go with the requirements, even, and show the photographer, and then they can, hold on. They said something about, just give me 1 second. Audio, I don't know what this is. Drag a piece. I don't know. That's why I don't like TikTok. Like it's just telling me, like, I don't know, drag this piece to the center too, and then the live went back. I don't know about TikTok, but anyhow, so yeah, so just go to a studio, get a photo taken, and then either they can put it on a drive, they can put it on a, I don't know if CD exists anymore, or they can send it to you as an email or as an attachment, or send it to you on your phone. And then when you go home, you can apply on your phone. You just apply on your phone, enter all that information. When it asks you for a picture, you can just select, and then you select from where you save that photo, and then you can upload. And that way, when it comes to the payment, you take that payment and you put it in your phone and submit it. But I wouldn't trust that Visa virtual card, you taking it to the cyber cafe, having somebody apply for you using that bank details, because people will start scamming people. You'll just go home and your money will be wiped out of your M-Pesa. So just be careful. And that's how I tell people who apply for hosting too. I'm like, you use this virtual card, just make sure don't share this information with somebody else, because it's like you're sharing all your bank information with this person. So just be aware of that. So that's about the $1. What else so I wanted to talk about marriage. Let's talk about marriage, because marriage, like a lot of people, marriage is a big thing. Like marriage, everybody's asking about marriage, right? Okay, so let's start here. You singular, by yourself, nobody, boyfriend, fiance, partner, significant other, mtu wangu, whatever. You're not married, you're single. You don't have any paperwork to show you're married. You're single. You've been married for 25 years. You bought land together. You have 10 children together. You don't have a marriage certificate. You're single. You went to their parents' house. You did a rurashio. You did mahari. You did everything. You don't have that document. You are single, which means all of you fall in the same category of applying as unmarried. If you do not have any document that legally shows your union, you're married. It doesn't matter if you've lived together for 50 years and you have 10 children. You're still unmarried. So let's get that out of the way. So that's one. Number two, so you're with this person, you're married. And this one only, I'm going to just insist, only applies to countries where traditional marriages are legalized. And the good thing, Kenya, where I'm from, traditional marriages are legalized. So if you married traditionally, you just went over there, mahari, there's somebody spit at you, you had to go around, whatever, do your own shenanigans over there, but you got the blessings from over there. And then you got an affidavit of marriage. That is a legal document that proves you're married traditionally. So if you're from Kenya and you have affidavit of marriage at this time, not you're going to get it. We're not talking about I'm going to go and get it. You have it at the time of application. You have that affidavit of marriage. Then you can apply as married. If you don't have anything, we're going back to applying as unmarried. Okay. So if you have affidavit of marriage, why am I telling you to apply as married and affidavit of marriage is not recognized in the US? You realize, like, if you go to the embassy with the affidavit of marriage, that thing, they don't know what it is. They don't recognize it as legal proof of marriage, right? If you have affidavit of marriage, if you win the green card lottery, you have to go and register this marriage, right? You have this affidavit of marriage that showed when you got married. You're going to go to the AG, you're going to register this marriage again after you win, right? You register this marriage. Your marriage certificate is going to have a date where you're married today, right? Because if you go get married May of 2026, when you discover you win to complete the DS260, then your marriage certificate is going to say May. And then you're wondering, I just started the live by telling you, if the dates are after you applied for the green card, you're going to get denied. That's why this affidavit of marriage comes in. Because when you get a marriage certificate that said you're married in May of 2026, they usually put a clause there that says married under customary law since 2020. Why? Because you have affidavit of marriage. So when you go to the embassy, you take your affidavit of marriage and you take your marriage certificate, both of them. When you give them, they know, this person registered the marriage after they applied, but they had affidavit of marriage, which is a legal document that proves their union. So you will get a visa that way. So that's how Kenyans are able to come here or to get married after they applied and still get a visa, because they have affidavit of marriage. But if you do not have affidavit of marriage, you don't have anything, and you apply as married, and then you win, and then you decide to get married, do a wedding, and then you go to the embassy, you will not get a visa. They will deny you on the basis of you lied on your application. So one of the only things that can make you get denied your visa is lying on your application. If you lie on your application about anything, there's this guy from Sierra Leone. Last year was my DV 2024. He did not include one kid. And he didn't tell me, because he just applied for hosting, like, oh, I'm going to the embassy next month and I'm planning to fly out this month. So then applied for hosting. He didn't tell me the details about what. And then he told me, oh, I was denied a visa. I'm like, why were you denied a visa? And then he said, I tried to explain to the guy that my kid was not available when I was taking pictures. They were in school. So I added them after I won on my DS260. You can't do mistakes like that because you're not getting that visa. You cannot explain the lie. At the embassy, you lie. It doesn't matter what happened. They don't care. Did you lie? You're not going to get that visa. So that's why I'm insisting, because the number one reason, especially at Nairobi embassy, that a lot of people are getting denied a visa is lying about marriage and lying about kids. Those are the two things you can't fix: marriage and kids. So if you feel that application is very easy, completing that application is going to be very easy for you. But just pay attention to the marriage part and the kids part. Because if you don't, that might be the only reason enemy your progress to get a visa. So that's why I insist on marriage. So anybody with a marriage question, I can take a question about marriage. Let me see. How do I go up and down? If you have a question about marriage, you can ask me. But like I said, it only works in Kenya because Kenya, they legalize traditional marriages. Also about marriage, I'm going to tell you something about marriage. If you're married and you have two wives, don't make a mistake of having the two wives add you on the application. Because why? You're just making these wives not win. Because you have, this is like with the advancements of technology, we have AI. Like I said, we have facial recognition. So if they enter two people, same face in that application, you think the system is not going to tell that this face is appearing on 10 applications because you have 10 different wives, 10 different winnings? So it doesn't increase your chances of getting selected. It actually reduces the chances of everybody else getting selected. So if you have two wives, pick who do you want to go to America with? Then you can apply together. If you have like a document that shows you're married. So yeah. But then as much as you do that, if you have all these 10 women and all of them have kids, you can include all those children in whatever wife you'll pick. So if you pick a wife number 1, wife number 2, wife number 3, you have to include wife number 2's kids and wife number 1's kids in your application, so that when you come over here, you can go and bring them. If you're married without kids, I said apply as unmarried and add all the children, because they don't care about your sins. America don't care about what you did to get those kids. You can have 10 kids with different fathers. You're a baby mama of 10 children with 10 baby daddies. You can just add all the 10 children in your application. They won't ask you, hey, why do you have all these multiple baby daddies? They'll just ask, do you have consent from their fathers? Oh, I have all this consent. They don't care. Everybody will get a visa. So being unmarried, you don't get over there and then you get like dinged for like being unmarried and having 20 kids. They don't care about that. You'll get a visa. All right. So if you're a widow without a marriage certificate, so that's, if you're a widow without a marriage certificate, what do you mean? Like you guys were not married? Because if you were married, then definitely you have a marriage certificate. But if you don't have a marriage certificate, then you are married. I mean, if you don't have a marriage certificate, it means you are unmarried at that time. So you just apply as unmarried. If you have a marriage certificate and you're a widow, you can apply as a widow. But just remember, they will require a death certificate. All I say is, if you go to that embassy, usually they ask for proof. So every time you enter a question, they ask you, what is your first name? You type in. What is your last name? You type in. Just ask yourself, if I go to the embassy and they ask me, do you have documents to show these names? If you're entering high school degree, when I go to the embassy and they ask me, okay, do you have something to prove your education? Do you have it? If you don't, then don't put it in there. I have children. Do you have a birth certificate? You know, adding the children doesn't end there. So if you add like 4 children, 3 children in your application, when you go to the embassy, as much as you're not going with these kids, you know, sometimes you'll apply as unmarried and you try to add like your cousins there. I had somebody who was denied a visa who did that. They added a niece in there because this niece, they were like, you know, I think like they were taking care, they were legal guardians. So they took care of this kid until they were like 13 or something like that. So when they applied for the green card, they added this kid and they went to the embassy. First, somebody advised them, they're like, if you add a kid and it's not yours, it's not a good idea, which was a very good advice. But because they added this kid on the application, they had to add them in their DS-260 to stand a chance, which they did, which was correct. But then when they got to the embassy, they told them, okay, so this is your kid. Yes. You added them on your application. Yes. You added them on the DS-260. Yes. Where is the birth certificate? So as much as you're taking this kid to America, whether you're going to immigrate with them or not, you will need documentation to prove. If you apply as married and you add kids, if you go to the embassy, as much as you're not taking your wife and kids, they will still need to see that marriage certificate and they will need to see the birth certificate of all the people you added. So just know that's going to happen. So before you start typing and lying on that application, just know you might win. And for some reason, people who lie, they end up winning. And then you win and knowing, and now you're scrambling. You're like, okay, should I get a fake birth certificate? What am I doing here? You know? So, yeah. So marriage is a big thing. Like I said, marriage and kids, that's a big thing. When is the document that you present at the port of entry issued? The day of the interview or when collecting the passport? So when you go to the interview, usually they give you a passport back with a visa. That visa in there is your green card. So if you walk in and they're like, oh, you have a green card? Yes, show me proof. You can show your passport. And that's like DS, is it 551? I forgot. I can't tell you on top of my head. So that visa on that passport is going to be your green card. So that legally allows you to get in. But remember, when you go to the embassy, you have to do your medical. The medical proves that you're healthy enough and you don't have any communicable diseases that can spread in the United States. That's why you go for the medicals, right? So you have your visa, green card, to allow you to come to this country. They look at that first. Number 2, give us those documents for the medicals that tells us that you are fit enough to be you are admissible to the United States. And that's when you give them the yellow envelope. And like I said, if your ancestors, mapepo ya kwenu, lied to you, open a little bit that yellow envelope. Let me open this corner and see what it is. They will not let you in the United States. That's like that medical. If you have to protect anything before you protect your suitcase and everything else, protect that yellow envelope. Like I have a DV lottery winner who's coming today. I don't know, maybe she texted me and I'm not responding. But yeah, I have a DV lottery winner who's flying in today. So I told her that yellow envelope, white paper, protect that before anything, before any of your belongings. Don't even put in your check-in bag. That goes with you in the airplane. Like if you go to the bathroom to pee, take that document with you. Passport and that yellow document. You walk around in the airport with it. You walk in the bathroom with it. In the flight, when you sleep, put it in the front. Hold it like this. That's your ticket to get in. So everything that you need to give the people at the port of entry, you get at the embassy. And it's going to be the yellow envelope. And they will keep the yellow envelope and they will give you back the passport, and your passport will be stamped, and they'll tell you, welcome to America. You know, when you have a green card, they usually it's 2 lines. If you have visitor's visa, all the other non-immigrant visa, they just send you to a different line over there. So there's usually a line for the non-immigrant visas, which is usually very long when you go to the port of entry. And then there's a line for people with green cards, and then there's a line for people with citizenship. Citizenship is express. You just go there like you don't line up. You just get in like you're getting in and out of the toilet. But if you have a green card, then you have a little bit of okay, wait, let's see this yellow paper, whatever. Let's get in. Let's make sure your green card, you didn't commit any crimes. And then they let you in. If you have non-immigrant visa, you will get in there sometimes. Somebody has a visa, visitor's visa, whatever, student visa, exchange visa, and they will grill you. And you're like, do I really want to visit this country? I had the guy who's from Ghana. He is a business person, very big business person. So he comes, leaves, comes back, he leaves, comes back. One day he came at the port of entry. That guy was put in a room. They grilled him, and he was telling us, it was so funny. He was saying that, they asked me questions until I was asking myself, did I commit these crimes and I'm not even aware I committed these crimes, So they put him for an hour. They're like, why are you coming back so soon? Who are you going to see? They had to call somebody where he said he was going here for a conference or whatever. They had to call that place and make sure that conference is happening. Where is that? Okay, is it on a website? Where did people register? Before they let that guy in. That guy came in, and that was in 22. After that guy left this country, he has never come back again. He said, if that's all that it takes to go to the US, I'm never coming back again. And he's never come back, So sometimes they can grill you. And now they started grilling, depending on what port of entry you go through. They grill people with the green cards. And if you've watched my story on my YouTube, I talked about the lady who was deported at the port of entry. Why? Because he has pictures of somebody. Here you work, some restaurants, they're just they're known. Go to Longhorn, go to Texas de Brazil, go to even McDonald's, whatever. So there's some restaurant chains that are only here in America. So if you are over there with a picture of a restaurant with an apron with that logo of that restaurant with other people, what were you doing there? You were working. So if you are working and you have a visitor's visa and does not allow you to work in the country, why do you have this apron on? So they were deported at the port of entry. Yeah, the visa was valid. They had never committed any crime. She was deported right there. Girl was traumatized. It's yeah. So just make sure, like I said, with the green card, yellow envelope, passport, hold it, put it. Even some people, I'm like, if you're a heavy sleeper, put it under your jacket and put it like this when you're falling asleep, because you never know. In the flight, somebody might decide maybe they want to steal your phone or steal your backpack, and they steal that, not knowing that they're stealing your ticket to getting into America. So protect that with everything that you got. So that's that. All right, let me see. Any other question? How much does it cost for a single person? I already talked about the cost of after you winning. I talked about one. The most important thing is going to be you getting your passport, depending on how much the passport is in your country. Different countries, different cost for the passport, depending on the pages you're getting. So get a passport. What is the cost of that? Put that into account. You need to get your medicals done. And with the medicals, it varies, do you have immunizations that you can provide proof of those immunizations? And then maybe it'll be lower than somebody who doesn't have those immunizations. So cost of the medicals, I'll put, like I said, somebody in Zimbabwe, they pay $700, $900. Somebody in Kenya, probably $400, $500. Some people going around $350, but it's going to be around $400 and above. So you got a passport for like $1,000, no, $100, just off, like in Kenya, like 100. I don't know if it's 100 or 200. I don't know about passport. And then you have your $700, $500 for your medical, right? And then you got your interview fee, and that's going to be $330. Usually with the green card fee, there's a little bit of wiggle room, because they put a green card on your passport, so you don't need a green card to pay for that at the embassy. A lot of people who I'm hosting, they came over here, they started working, they made money before they paid for their green card. So there is no rush for the 235 or yeah. So there's no rush for that. So that's that. That's pretty much the cost. And then you have to factor, you need your flight. A flight is going to cost you over $1,000, depending on where you're going. One way, everybody paid at least, the one for the people I'm hosting, it was at least over $1,000, just one way. So that, and then what else? And then you have to understand, when you come, you need food, you need like toiletries, you need like a lot of stuff. So if you get a job, how are you going to work? You need money for Uber, you need money for taking a bus. So there's a lot of costs involved. And a lot of people are like, you don't like to host kids. Kids, they're a lot of work. I'm telling you, kids are a lot of work in America. First, you have to enroll them in school. So your host has to be ready to enroll those kids in school, because you don't have a car, you don't have a way, you don't know anything in America, any meetings, anything that's needed for school. This host has to take care of that. If this kid is sick, they have to make sure they go to the hospital. You don't have a car, so your host is stuck with doing all that. They need, like, you need food. If you're coming with a family, you need food. You need like transportation. You need, like, you're using utilities. You're over there using Wi-Fi, pretty much the same, but electric. Maybe you're over there. If you're showering, there was one person showering. Now somebody has 5 kids, 5 people showering. They're using hot water. That's bills that's adding up, So in America, usually water bill, whatever bill, somebody's taking you somewhere, that's gas money and stuff like that. So put that into account. Hosting a family is not easy. And I don't host any families. I can tell you that. I can host a husband and a wife, but I will not host kids, because it's just too much. I host a lot of people. So if I have to take care of your kids and then take care of other DV lottery winners, then no. So I can host you, and then once you come here, you can figure out how your kids come here, because they're your kids, not mine. So I can help you and your husband, and you is your responsibility to help kids. So if you want your kids to come here, work hard, get an apartment, work hard, do whatever you need to do to bring your kids here. So that's that. I don't have any recommendations for any studio. Somebody's asking, like, my picture, I took it like almost 15 years ago. I don't even know if they're not even open. It was somewhere around like archives. No, it was somewhere on Kenyatta Street, I think. I don't remember this. It's been a hot minute since I was back home, but I'm planning to come soon. just because like I brought my family here, so like I used to go there because my nuclear family used to be there. Now they're all over here. So visiting, I visit, but not as much as I used to. All right, let's see. I don't know if somebody on TikTok has questions. Anybody wants to send me a request? If you send me a request, I'll listen to what you have to say. Okay, let me open. So before you apply for the green card, the only way you can see or you can kind of gauge whatever you need to put in your application is to look at what's needed at the interview. I have like a thing that I have on my website where it talks about what documents you need. And then maybe that will kind of help you. Let me try to pull it up here. Let's see. Let me try to share this video. Let me present here, I think. Share screen. Let me see. All right. Okay. So let me go full screen. Okay, so these are the documents, kind of like documents that you need at the embassy. And let's go. Let me see here. Okay. Let me get rid of this thing here. So required documents during interview. I put Kenya because, I'm from there. So it's very easy to know what documents versus other countries because they have different education system. So the principal applicant, you'll need your birth certificate. You'll need the original copy, and then you need the original, and then you need a copy. So if they ask you, you can give them both. They'll give you back the original, and they keep the copy. Because if you leave anything at the embassies, sometimes they don't send anything back. So you need your birth certificate. So get a copy of that. Everything that you take to the embassy has to have a copy. You need academic documents, KCSE certificate, and a copy is required for that. And then you make sure like you verify your documents online so they can send that information to the embassy. And then you need police clearance. Police clearance, you need, what the hell? Yeah, police clearance, you need that for every country that you've lived more than 6 months. So if you went somewhere, you stayed more than 6 months, anywhere you went, you lived there more than 6 months, they'll need police clearance. I get people asking, I'm from, I went to the UAE, I worked, I Camboyed, I don't know how to get it. Well, you need it. Otherwise, you'll not get a visa. Juma was from Saudi Arabia. He had to fly to Saudi Arabia. He went to the interview. They told him, we're not giving you the visa. Go get this. So he had to fly to Saudi Arabia, get the police clearance, and then came back to Tanzania. And then that's when they issued the visa. So you need police clearance. You'll need a marriage certificate. And then marriage certificate, like I said, if you have evidence of marriage, you have to register your marriage and get a real marriage certificate and take both to the embassy with you. You need a travel passport, and then you need the IOM. If you go to the IOM, usually they send the results directly to the embassy if you're from Kenya. So, and then you need just a passport picture. That's 2x2. That's like the same one you use to apply for the DV. Don't use the same one because it has to be within the 6 months. So that's pretty much it. And then with the spouse, you just know you'll need a marriage certificate. With the kids, you'll need a copy of their birth certificate and everything else. Everybody in the family pays for the DV interview. Everybody pays for the medical, and everybody pays for the flight, unless they're babies. So that's that. And then the other notification letters, we don't need to talk about those because, well, we don't need to talk about notification letters because until you win. Until you win. All right, let's see. Oh, somebody's saying go live later. My signal is poor. If my signal is poor, come to YouTube. I think YouTube will be fine. Let me log in and watch myself. Yeah, I think my YouTube is fine. So if the Facebook has a problem, come to YouTube. Usually YouTube has a better signal. That's why I do. I go live pretty much on YouTube for the most part. Yeah, my YouTube is working fine. I think Facebook sometimes there's a lag. I don't know. Yeah. So if you're on Facebook, come to YouTube. Let me type for them here. Come to YouTube. All right. Yeah, so that's that. Anybody has a question? Anybody on TikTok has a question? I can go over questions real quick before I end the live. Can you talk about fiance visa? I don't talk about any other visas other than DV lottery. I used to help with visitors visa, fiance, spousal, but it's just too much. Now I just do DV lottery because I teach you how to apply, and then if you win, now I get applications for hosting. Now I have to do hosting. I have to do your DS260s. I have to prepare hosting, and then after you get your visa, then everybody's messaging me, and then now I have to arrange airport pickup. Like I said, I have somebody I'm picking up today, so it's too much. DV lottery is just too much in itself. So I don't do the other visas. I don't even give advice for the other visas because it's just too much. Yeah, so if you haven't applied, make sure you apply October to November. It's going to be open, so make sure you guys are applying. Everybody, like I said, if you are in doubt if you qualify or not, apply, and then after you win, find out that you didn't qualify. Then not apply and realize like you will have qualified. So yeah. So how can I increase my chances this year? Just make sure you have the correct picture, correct picture so you don't get disqualified. The goal is to not get disqualified. If you're not disqualified, you have a chance at, winning. So just make sure the picture is correct and don't add any kids over 20 years old. It has to be 20 and below. Don't add any 21 or over. My friend applied a single one. Should he include the partner? Yeah, if he applied a single one and they are now married, they can just get married and then include in the DS260 as long as you have a marriage certificate. That's allowed. So after you win, you can marry your spouse and then you guys can come together. All right. Any other questions? When applying for DV lottery, like somebody's asking, this is a good question. Somebody's asking if you're applying for the DV lottery, must you have the details of the host? No, you don't. You only need a host on your DS260. So now don't worry about host. Once you win, then look for me. But now, no point. Okay. Oh, this is a very good question too as well. If you won last year, is it advisable to apply again this year? Exactly. This is like no-brainer. If you won DV 2025 and you applied for DV 26 and won again, good for you. If you won DV 2026, apply for DV 2027. And why do I say that? Because once you win the green card, the visa is not guaranteed. I just told you somebody with a case number of over 26,000 and over will not get a visa at Nairobi embassy. So if that person did not apply for DV 2026, then they have to wait for DV 2027. I won 2 years in a row. I won DV 2012 and DV 2013. Why? Because after you win, that year you have to apply because the visa is not guaranteed. If you win both, you'll just use this one to process. But then if you don't get to go to the interview with the first win, at least you have the second win that you can hope to go to the interview with. So yeah, you win, you have to keep applying. Keep applying until you get a visa. Usually I ask somebody, do you have a visa? No, apply. If you have a visa, you don't have to. But if you do not have a visa yet, all right. So with the passports and all the requirements that are needed, I'm not gonna say anything for right now. Why? Because things keep changing. I might say something this week, next week is something different. So before they open, if there's any updates, usually I update people on my YouTube channel or on my Facebook. I do a post. And like I said, sometimes like you over there and then maybe you have a spouse who doesn't want to come. You have a spouse, maybe you want to come, you want to apply for the green card. You've not been applying for the green card because your spouse doesn't want to apply. Just go ahead and apply for yourself. Just apply and add your kids. What's wrong? Just apply, add your kids. And then after you win, you just ask him or her, Do you want to go to America? If they say no, process your visa by yourself and come. And then you can go back and get your kids. Like, you can't be over there in Africa, you're suffering, asking people for money, you're doing this, you don't have food, you don't have money for rent. And then somebody doesn't want to apply for the green card to get an opportunity to like change their lives. So I don't know. But anyhow, I said, if somebody does not want to apply, let them not be an enemy of progress on your behalf. Just go in there, take a picture of your kids, and apply. If you win, you can get married. You can marry later and add him if he still wants to come. But if he doesn't want to come, you can just come by yourself. And you can always go back. I'm in Uganda. I don't know what this is asking. All right. All right, explain about eligibility. I'm going to explain a little bit about eligibility. So with the eligibility, first, to be eligible to apply, you have to be either completed high school or you work legally in your country. So at least 17 years, 16 years and over, you can apply. Why? Because you need 12 years of study in school to complete high school. So you cannot be 5-year-old applying for the DV because you won't have the high school requirement. You need 12 years of study. Or you need work experience. Work experience, you need to be a legal age to work in a country. And I don't think most countries will allow you to work when you're 12. So you have to have that legal age to apply. So you have to be at least 17 years or over. They don't have a maximum age limit. You can be like 70, 80, 90, 100. You apply. If you win, because if you're 100 years old, you're old and can't work, so they're worried about risk of you being a public charge. And in that case, they will ask you for the I-134. Once they ask you for 134, you get one. Somebody's going to be responsible for you once you land here. You'll get your visa with 80 years old. They don't care. As long as you're not going to be a public charge. That's eligibility. Eligibility also, you have to be born in an eligible country. So if your country is not eligible, eligibility is different from being banned. A country not being eligible is different from a country being banned. People are confusing the two. If your country is banned and you're eligible to apply, you still apply. Why? Because by the time the results come out, you go to the embassy, maybe the ban will be lifted. You'll have been lifted at that time and you just go and get your visa. But then if your country is not eligible to apply, then, well, you cannot apply. One is Nigeria. Nigeria, you guys are not eligible to apply unless you marry a Kenyan citizen. So if you marry somebody from an eligible country, you marry a Kenyan, you marry somebody from Uganda, you marry somebody from Zimbabwe, you marry somebody from whatever country that's eligible to apply. If you're Nigerian, you can apply, but you claim eligibility from your spouse's country of birth. So you're not eligible. So when the question that asks, are you claiming eligibility from a country of birth? You're going to say no. And then it will ask you, where do you claim eligibility? And then you're going to say Kenya from your country, your spouse's country of birth. If you are from that country, all your countries are eligible, like maybe you're from Kenya, Uganda, other than Nigeria in Africa. That question that asks you, are you claiming eligibility from your country of birth? Make sure you say yes. Always say yes. Because if you say no and you can't claim eligibility from a wrong country, you might be denied a visa. So just make sure that question about eligibility, you say yes. Another thing about eligibility, like if you're Nigerian and then maybe you were born in Nigeria, but both of your parents are from somewhere else, then you can get a visa. Because if your parents are not Nigerian, you just happen to be born in Nigeria, either your parents were on vacation, they were diplomats, they were doing something there, went for a crusade, you happen to be born in Nigeria, your mother and father are not from Nigeria, you can apply as much as you're a Nigerian citizen by birth because you can claim eligibility from your parents. So that's pretty much about eligibility. What else? Yeah, so eligibility, pretty much you have to be from a country that's eligible. And the second thing, you have to meet the education requirement. If you don't, you need work experience. So that's about eligibility. And like I said, if you doubt if you're eligible to apply, apply. If you win, you'll worry about it later than not apply and find out you're eligible. All right, let's see. Countries, migrant visas are conducted in Nairobi, like. They're going to be. I don't understand. Okay, or maybe, Daniel, maybe I'm understand. Yeah, I think I understand what you're talking about. So there's a memo that went out, like said you have to be interviewed at your, especially if you're applying for a visa. Not pretty much like I said immigrant, but pretty much any visa. You have to be applying that visa in your country of birth. Before like some people, maybe Nairobi embassy is slow, and then you decide to go to Uganda for something, or to go to Tanzania for something. They don't allow in 2026, DV 2026, they're not going to be allowing you to switch embassies. So if you're from Kenya, unless you prove residency in that country, like for example, and that is yet to be, we have to figure out if that works even. Because residency requirement was there, only that maybe people are not enforcing it at the embassy, but the residency requirement has always been there. But if you apply maybe in Saudi Arabia and then you work there, you have permanent residence in that country, and you can prove residency, then you can use their embassy because you have permanent residence. You can prove that. But if you're just like before, you just go to Tanzania to do an interview and then come back, you don't have residency, that will not be allowed anymore, which is going to be so bad for Kenya, because Kenya is one of those poor performing embassies, like Accra. Accra is catching. Yeah, Kenya and Accra, African embassies usually are bad. So people will win the green card, but because you can't switch to a different embassies, then you won't get your visa. Like I talked about the DV 2025, who was 30,000, and a Kenyan who went to Thailand and got a visa. You see, that's not going to be allowed anymore, which, it keeps the options very limited. So you have to be staying at your embassy. So hopefully they make the embassies work faster, like more efficient. I don't know if they can hire more staff. I don't know. Like all this money, like a lot of people apply for the DV, like almost 20 million people apply. So if everybody's paying $1, guess how much the US government is going to make? 20 million, just straight up like that. 20 million, cool. Within less than a month, they're making like 20 million. Where is this money going? I hope they put it into like increasing the efficiencies at the embassy. But nope, they'll just put it into like immigration to find people and deport them. That's how it's been. Sad, but it's like, yeah. All right, let's see. Somebody's asking about, working at a petrol station. Work experience, we'll talk about it later once the results are out. Then, because I already spoke to, I talked about work experience in detail, you have to go to a website, you have to check if you have enough points. And then if you meet like whatever points, depending on your work experience, then you can use that. But then for right now, don't worry about work experience. You're just applying. Winning the green card lottery is not easy. It's not easy. So just apply. Once you win, you go from there. Once you win, then we'll worry about everything else. For right now, just worry about having the right photo, right information in your application. Yeah. So let me see what is. So for the upcoming DV27, my issue is my son is now 19 and I do my application. I will include him on my application. Should I also do his? Yes. So if you have a kid who's 19 years old and they're less than 21, you can apply and include them in the application, and then also place their own application separately. And that's what I did with my brother. That year, the first year I applied for my brother, he was in Form 3. I put him under my mom, but they did not win. My mom did not win, so he didn't win. So the next year, my brother was in Form 4. So I applied for my mom and I put my brother, and then I put an application for my brother by himself. And my mom did not win, but my brother did. So he ended up coming. And then my mom, I invited her to come to visit. And because I was a citizen at that time, I just applied for a green card for her. So that's how she got her citizenship. But my brother won the green card, which was good, because then if I had to be a citizen and place a petition for him, it will take 12, 15 years before he can be, like his number goes current to be eligible for that visa. So it will take long. So the green card was easier way for him to get here. So yeah, so you can place 2 applications. And if you have a wife, So if you have a wife, you can apply, place the 19-year-old in your application. Your wife applies, place the 19-year-old in the application, and then the 19-year-old applies on his own. That way, your 19-year-old has 3 chances of getting selected. So that's how it works. And then people are talking about city of birth. Don't worry about city of birth. That question, city of birth, whatever you put on there, it doesn't affect your winning. Trust me. I've seen from everybody who's applying for hosting, everybody who I'm helping with the DS260s and stuff, it doesn't matter. There's people, I have people from the same region. One put no city unknown, the other one put the name of the city, and they both won from the same village, same place. So the city of birth doesn't make a huge difference in your application. You can put anything there. As long as you can put anything in your birth certificate. If you don't know anything, you can just say city of birth unknown. Still, it wouldn't affect your winning. If you're selected, you're going to be selected. Nairobi is a city. Yeah, Nairobi is a city. Nairobi city, right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, people asking about switching embassies. They're worried about Ugandans coming to Kenya. So with that memo, as much as it went out, if your embassy does not process DV lottery winnings, you can be allowed to go to a different embassy. So like somebody from Uganda can go to Kenya without proving residency in Kenya because their embassy does not process that. So that's one reason. The second reason you can switch embassies through humanitarian reasons. So one, either there's war where the embassy is or where you are and you can't access the embassy because of safety reasons, then you'll be allowed to switch. The third reason is you're sick, you're receiving treatment in whatever country, you can't travel back to your country because now if you travel back to your country, then it's going to delay treatment, then they'll allow you to use their embassies. Or you have a family member who's sick and they're watching them, taking care of them. So if you go to do your embassy in your home country, who's going to be taking care of this sick person? Then they will allow you to do an interview in that embassy. Other than that, humanitarian reasons, safety reasons, or your embassy doesn't process DV, they will not allow people to go to a different embassies. And that's a memo that just went out. Is it going to be enforced? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe they'll just put a memo out and in DV 2026, you hear somebody went somewhere and got a visa. So sometimes they just do the memos to just scare people. But sometimes with this current administration, I'm not playing with them because I know they say something and it's, yeah. Because the H-1B visa came out, I'm telling you, you should have seen people with H-1B visa go crazy. People are outside the country. And they said, the first memo, the way it went out, they just said H-1 visa, then you need 100,000. It wasn't specific at first. So people thought if you already have your H-1B visa and you're out of the country, you'll need to pay the 100,000. So people are scrambling to get back in. And then they updated it and be like, okay, if you already have a H1, then it won't affect you. It will just affect people who are applying for H1. So, and still with the H1, I'm like, okay, is it going to be the 100,000? Because usually H1 is like DV lottery, it's a lottery. So you apply, it's a lottery, they select few people. So the question is the 100,000 guarantee you will get the H1 or the 100,000 you pay to get into the lottery that you don't know if you're going to win or not? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not an immigration lawyer, just, so stuff like that. Let me let immigration lawyers worry about that. But those are the stuff that I'm talking about. Like now, even if I was like a J1 here as a teacher, or I was on a student visa, I wouldn't be just traveling for no reason. Travel back home when you have a reason to go. Because you'll be on that flight. The flight is in the air. You're going to Africa. They're like, oh, we're revoking all visas from Uganda. If you're here and you're a student, you might go to school as long as you're in status, right? Maybe your service is not canceled. Your school might fight for you. But once you're outside the country, you have nothing. You'll stay there. You can't come back in. So that's why I'm like, if you have J1, any non-immigrant visa, don't just travel if you don't have very good reason of travel. Travel if you have a green card. Even now, people with green cards are scared to travel outside the country. People with green cards. So how can somebody with, it's just a student visa, you're flying every 6 months? Yeah, now is not a time to risk that. All right, so that's that. I think I'm done, unless anybody has a question. The photo requirements, I just wanted to go over that, but then like it's a lot. It's a lot, and I already covered everything. It's just going to be boring. Everybody who's following me on my YouTube, on my Facebook probably knows the photo requirements right now. I even uploaded a picture. Let me pull one. Let me just minimize that. Let me pull my picture here. Let me pull that and then that. Give me 1 second. Let me try to see if I can share that. Image file. All right. That's the picture. I'm going to put another, I'll put a man. And then, yep. So the picture here is for a man. If you check, look at this picture. People asking about shoulders and whatever, just look at this picture. This is a picture of a DV lottery winner. So he won. So I'm not putting a picture of somebody who didn't win. So you can look at, the examples. I hope you can see. I don't know if you can see. Let me just watch myself, see if you can see. Can you see this picture? Somebody type. Let's see. I don't know. Something happened with my computer. I'm gonna refresh. Yeah, so this is a picture of Haruna, if you can see. That is Haruna from Uganda. He won DV24. Yeah. So that's, you can look, see at the, so this picture explains everything. He's looking straight at the camera. You can see the hairline. You see up here, you can see this hairline, right? He's looking at the camera, directly at the camera. The facial expression is neutral. Like you can see, like he's not smiling, he's not laughing, he's just neutral facial expression. And then look at the background. The background is white. It has to be white or off-white. And then that's pretty much it. And then the head has to be, is it 50 to 60%, 65%, if I'm not wrong. Look at the head. So you just measure the head from here, top to bottom, is more than half of the picture. Then it's at least 50, So that's the picture of Haruna. And then I'm gonna let me remove that. And then for a woman is that, this is my picture that I won. So you see like there's a difference in shoulders. He had like more shoulder room over here. Mine is less. And people talk about this. I have a necklace on there like that. It's not making a huge difference, but it's there. So you can see the hairline. I'm looking at the camera. You can look at, my head is big, right? At least 50%. To 65, I think, percent. And then there's a white background. And then I have, this was a light blue, like a sky blue shirt I had on. So like you can tell the difference between this shirt and the background. So if you wear white and then you don't have any hair, the white might like try to filter into the background. So that's why like, white is not a good color. But yeah, you can wear any other color. So those are the two pictures. So you can look at the example of the pictures. They're on my YouTube. They're on my Facebook. So you can just go click one, take it to a photographer. You're like, hey, can you take a picture like this? And like I said, I have videos showing how to edit pictures. So if you have a picture, like, I don't know if I should pull a picture of, no, I don't have it with me. I have to get off TikTok because it's on that phone. Yeah. So if you have a picture that doesn't meet requirements, you can just edit it. You can just go to photo tool. Let me just go here. You just type in DVLottery photo tool, and then it will bring you the photo tool from the US Department of State. So, and then you choose a photo. Hold on, let me share. Hold up. So Let me remove that and then go here, add. So let me put a picture. Let me share the screen. So you go to this website. So share and then photo requirements. So you go to just type DV Lottery photo tool, and then it's gonna come. It shows you the photo requirements. You see, it has to be in color, so not black and white. Let me put full screen. How do I do that? There you go. All right, so you see it has to be in color. The head should be 50 to 69%. Not I say 65, but 69%. So that's the side, like from head from the top to bottom. And then you can see it has to be within the 6 months. I said me and my brother used the picture 2 consecutive years, but we changed the date, which worked back then. Don't do that right now. Right now, just take a new picture within the last 6 months. The background has to be white, plain or off-white. You have to be facing directly at the camera, neutral facial expression, and then you take with clothing that you normally wear every day. So they don't have any specific, they don't like you to wear uniforms and stuff like that, like police uniform or, uniforms of some type. No headphones, anything in your ears, no eyeglasses. So if you wear eyeglasses like me, then you can't take a picture with that. It will disqualify you. And then it shows you, what else? Like it has to be a JPEG format. So not a PDF, not any other format. It has to be a JPEG. It has to be 240 kbs or less. So 200, 49, 50, 69, 80 is under 240 kbs. And then it has to be a square, which is 600 by 600, dimensions. And then if you have an existing photo, that has to be 2 by 2. And then when you scan in to turn it into a digital image, it has to be a resolution of at least 300, resolution of 300 per inch. And then that's pretty much it. And then the photo tool is right here. You just click on the photo tool. Let me go back and share the screen for the photo tool. Hold on. So share. So that's the photo tool. If you can see it, let me see if it showed up. All right, there you go. So this is the photo tool. And then you just go and choose a photo from whatever. You just click choose photo. And then you upload your picture from whatever it is. And then you just enter it, choose, and then you can crop it. You can do whatever. I'm not going to go into all that. But that's how you do it. So that's pretty much it. Or somebody's like Nelson here. He said, so he lost his confirmation number. And how do you retrieve it? If you have the email that you used to apply, if you go to DV Lottery to where to check the results, go and click forgot confirmation number. You'll need to enter that email and then, you'll be able to retrieve it. And then you can see, maybe you won. Maybe you have a low case number. Maybe you won and your interview's in October and you don't even know it. So just go look. All right. So if I'm in the US and I'm applying for my son who's 25 years and my son is in Kenya, can I use my location to apply for him? There's no restriction on the location, but what I said, I have experienced a lot of people who win, they applied for themselves outside the US. Coincidence? I don't know. So that's why I advise people, just apply. Whatever you're going to do is whatever he's going to do over there. Just make sure he has a correct picture. You can get on a Zoom call. You do a Zoom. That's how I do, like with the DS260. You just get on a Zoom or get on StreamYard, share the screen, and then whatever he's typing in, you're just guiding him, and then he can just apply for himself. All right, so that's that. Let me see. Can the principal applicant use a new photo but then use previous photo for the kids? No, everything has to be within the last 6 months. So that's that. Let's see what this one. Last year, I applied as single. Meanwhile, I was married, which I didn't win. This year, I've decided to apply with my wife. I want to ask if I win this year, can that affect me? No. They don't care your previous sins as long as you did not win. If you won and then you applied for the DS260, then it will be an issue. But then, like, if you didn't apply for the DS260, but then, now you just want to apply as married this time, even if you tell them, like, yeah, I applied as single, but I made a mistake. I corrected my mistake. I knew I was married. I was supposed to apply as married, and now I applied as married and I won. You won't get dinged for that. So you can do that. No problem at all. All right. Any questions? Any questions before I check out? Because a lot of people are asking me in the comment section. I have YouTube, I have Facebook, and I have TikTok. And fun fact about me, I don't like social media. I know I'm the last person you need to hear that from, but I don't like social media. I'm on social media because I have to be on social media to give you information, if you need hosting, if you need whatever, but I'm not a social media fan. That's why I don't do like TikTok lives all the time. I'm on TikTok. I'd rather make money another way than just be on TikTok 24/7. It's too much stimulation. I come on social media when I need to. And I know I need to be here to tell you about applying for the DV lottery. After you win DS260, I need to help people. Otherwise, some people make a mistake, like a lady who was denied a visa last week. I got really upset. Very nice lady from Uganda. She got denied a visa. So I'm still waiting for her to tell me the reason, because I think she's depressed. She didn't answer my text. But she went to the interview. I didn't help her with the DS260 or not. So I don't know what happened. So I'm not able to tell from my side. Like if I help you, like if you win and then you approach me for hosting, we do your DS260, we prepare for the interview. When you go there, usually I know like mistakes to avoid and stuff like that. I haven't had any one person get denied a visa that went to the interview with my name, not even one. So she's single, no kids, and she was denied a visa. So I don't know. Could be maybe she lied on something, education. She has high school. They told her to go get a police clearance and bring it to the embassy. She went, got it, sent it, and then once they received it, they denied her a visa. And she's DV 2025. So today is the 24th. So she has only a few days before she figured it out. So I don't know what she did. So it could be like maybe there was something in her medical, like if you have TB, and they know like you're not going to get treatment on time, that could be a denial, gonorrhea, Those are the things like I'm trying to think. Because if she has high school, I don't think what else could she have said. If she was married, I'd be like, maybe she lied about marital status, but she's not. So to be honest with you, I don't know why Nairobi denied this girl a visa. So she has to tell me, and then maybe it will be an educational opportunity for all of you. But I got so upset because I was really rooting for her to get that visa. I'm so upset. That's the problem with helping people. Sometimes it's like me being denied a visa, So I hope it works out for her. Yeah, but she was denied a visa last week. Very bad. She only has 2 weeks. She had 2 weeks before like the end of the DV 2025. She got an opportunity, and then she was denied a visa. Somebody's asking if you can change your background. I have no idea, depending on the studio, whatever, as long as it doesn't look like it's fake, And then also, I'm going to say about the photo tool. So the photo tool, the only photo tool I'm going to encourage you to use is the photo tool by the Department of State, the one I showed you. So if you want to use a photo tool, go to the Department of State, use their photo tool. And what do I say that? You see this photo tool online? I used 2 of them last year. And then they said, like, this DV lottery winner was uploading. I look at the picture, and the picture was like good. That was before they won. The picture looked good. And then this photo tool kept telling this applicant that the picture does not meet requirements. I don't know, the head is too big or whatever, compression or something. Weird stuff. But then he went ahead and applied. I have 2 people who checked with the other photo tools that said they didn't meet requirements. Checked with the dv.gov, this photo tool, it approved it. He applied and he won. So these other photo tools out there that's not DVLottery from the Department of State.gov, don't even put your pictures on there. You might try to put a picture there and maybe your picture is good and then it overcorrects it to the wrong thing. So just use whatever is approved by the Department of State. That's how I'm going to advise you. Don't just go there just using random photo tools. Don't do that. All right. Yeah, I think somebody's asking about processing. The cost of processing, you can just go have videos. I have everything on all my social media. So I think that's it for today. I'll try to see if I can come on the weekend. Weekends usually I'm busy, but I can come in for like an hour and then go over some stuff, questions that you might have. I can come for like an hour on the weekend. I'm not 100% on that, but then before the application, I'll try to come live too to answer a few questions that people might have. When the application opens, then I might come live, and then people can apply. If you have any question, you can ask before you apply. Maybe that will help. But I'm rooting for everybody. I want everybody to win because DVLottery is the easiest visa. You don't need somebody to petition for you. You don't need to apply nothing. You just need the I-1. Oh, I forgot to talk about the I-134. So I-134 is a affidavit support that you need after you win the green card. Not all embassies require it, just specific embassy. One crazy embassy, if you're Kenya, you're in Kenya and you're Kenyan. Some people, like if you're Kenyan, you're going to the embassy in Kenya, but no, you're not from Kenya. Sometimes they don't require it. But if you are born Kenyan and you're going to Nairobi embassy, they will require affidavit of support. And without it, you'll not get a visa. That's why all these people are on 221G, because they can't get affidavit of support. So make sure, make friends in America. But anyhow, what I can say is focus on winning. Because I don't have one single person in my group who fails to come because they don't have it. I don't provide a lot of them, but I'm going to tell you this. Nobody, even a single person who needs it. If you have a family, that's a different story because I don't give out to family. I only give us to single. So if you have family and you want me to help you, sometimes I just do for you. And then once you get here, you can figure out how to bring your family. But what I can say is this. As much as the I-134 is required, nobody in my group has ever failed to come because they don't have it. Usually it works out. So let it not worry you that, oh, affidavit of support, how am I going to get it? My interview is this day. Nope, you're in my group, you're going to get sorted out. So that's that. So affidavit of support, usually it tells the US government that you're not going to come here and be a public charge. So you have somebody who's a legal permanent resident or somebody who's a citizen who works, pays taxes, meets the income requirements, above poverty guidelines, has to complete that form, send you the W-2s, send you proof of residency or citizenship, and usually you go to the embassy and you get your visa. Nothing much. I-134 is not legally binding, so if you're completing it for somebody, not legally binding at all. Somebody cannot take you to court because you failed to do nothing. But if you're applying for a spouse, your family, and you fill the I-864, that's legally binding. That can get you into really bad trouble in this country. So, but then for DVLottery, if they want, just give them the I-134. Very easy to complete. Very simple. You can even complete it and send it to them. Like somebody in Kenya can complete it, send it to you, check it, put your signature, send them with the supporting documents, and then they can just go to the embassy with it. One thing about I-134, you can't send it to the embassy directly. You have to give it to that person. And that person, you're giving them your financial. They know how much you're making a year. They have some, if it's W-2 and it's not a tax transcript, it has a social security number. It has all your dependents on there, your address. And so it has a lot of your information. So some people will not provide it for that reason, because if you don't know this person who's going to the embassy, giving them that information sometimes is a little icky, So, so usually For the most part, you'll get the FW support. Don't worry about that. So yeah, so when it opens, when the DV lottery opens, and then when I have all the information about passport and how the dollar, and if it's like every beneficiary, I mean every dependent need to pay, derivative need to pay, or if it's just $1 for a single application, if I have all that information, then I will do a video or upload a post, but then I'll make you aware. When the DV lottery, I know a lot of people especially on my Facebook, they're asking me, hey, do you why don't you send us the link? Everybody's asking, where is the link? Where is the link? Where is the link? So the reason why I'm not sharing the link right now, because sharing the link is just gonna open up a can of worms. Why? Because I'm gonna share the link, you're gonna click on that link, you're gonna go over there, you'll try to apply, and then you can't apply, then you come back and you're like, this link is not working. And then now I have to explain why the link is not working. So I'm just gonna wait until the DV lottery opens and I know the link is working. Then I will share the link. So when you click on the link, it will take you directly to the application. Now, if you click on the link, you'll just find either to check DV 2026 or DV 2025. So if you didn't win, you won't know what is the confirmation number and all that. You don't have that, right? So if I share the link now, it's just going to be a lot of work for no reason. So don't worry about it. I'm going to share the link when I have that information. So that shouldn't be a problem at all. I think that's it, right? Let me see if I have any other questions here. Yeah, passport I already talked about that. Can I join the group? My DV 2026 will fall. Like I said, I had now I think we have 104, 105 applications for hosting for DV 2026. It's a lot of applications. So for hosting for right now, if you have a visa, I can take you for a few months before somebody comes, but we already at capacity right now. I'm trying to get people to see if other people can host as well, because a lot of people, I can't host them all, but that's down the line. Let's see. If you're working in the UAE, you win the green card, you can go for an interview either in the UAE if you have a permanent residence there, or you have to go back home. If your family is back home and you win and you added them to your application, the easiest way is to go back home and all of you go to the embassy together. People have been successful scheduling interviews at 2 embassies, but if you're not on top of things, you're not smart, you don't research, you don't do that, you might lose your chance. So usually I encourage, if you win, your family is back home, just go back home and process over there, especially if you have a low case number, you're already scheduled, just go back home and then you can do your interview there. If you're in America and you said you can't go back home, if you cannot go back home to do your interview, it means you cannot adjust your status here. What am I trying to say? If you came to America and one point in your time in America, you've been out of status, either changing from one school to the other, either maybe you finished your graduation and then you had to stay hustle before you found another I-20 for a different school and you went to a different school, so you're out of status for a little bit, you're not going to adjust your status. If you're in America, you're illegal here, you cannot adjust your status with a green card. If you came to visit on a visit visa, you never went back home after the 6 months, you cannot adjust your status in America because you're illegal here. So anybody who is illegal here or has ever been illegal at some point in America, you cannot apply, win, and adjust your status using a green card. A green card has to have a clean record in your immigration status. Otherwise, they will not give it to you. For marriage petitions, if you're here illegally, they waive that. So you can get it or others like work or whatever, work green cards. You can, if you're here illegally, there's a wiggle room. But for DV lottery, if you if you apply and win in America, if you've been here and you've been here illegally, maybe you're here on a visitor's visa, you apply for DV, you win, you apply to adjust your status. With this current government, when you go to the interview, they will arrest you there and put you in a deportation proceeding. They can detain you. So just be careful, especially with the DV. Make sure your record is clean. Double check, make sure your record is clean, especially if you're applying, if you're in America. And some people have gotten a lot of questions, people asking me, oh, you are J1, how were you able to adjust? So if you're J1, you can get a waiver. I got a waiver of no objection. So there's different waivers you can get. The easiest one is to get no objection. I got a no objection. So no objection means it was easier for me because the school I came here for college, that school does not take any money from the government. They don't do Pell Grants. They don't do TAP awards. They don't do no money from the government. It's a Christian school, a little Christian school that they do their own little thing over there. So getting a waiver, for me, it was easy. It took like a month and a half. I had my waiver in hand because you have to just get a letter from that school that says it's okay for you to stay in America. So once you get that letter, then you have to apply for the no objection, and then you have to get a letter from the Kenyan embassy. So here you go to Washington, D.C., where there's a Kenyan embassy in the U.S. in Washington, D.C. You don't have to go there. You just need them to write a letter saying that the Kenyan government does not object to you for you to stay here. Once you have this letter from the school or from your J1 program, and then you have this letter from the embassy, Kenyan embassy, government saying it's okay for you to stay, then you apply for the no objection, and then you put the two things, and then they'll give you no objection. And then, when you go, especially if you apply for immigrant, anything immigrant related, you're coming here and you want to apply for a green card. If you are a J1 student and they know you have the 212E on that stamp on your visa, the one that you have to, the home requirement, the 2-year home requirement, every time you go to a green card interview, the first thing they will ask, do you have a waiver? Once you give the waiver, they will start interviewing you for anything. If you don't have that waiver, that's where the interview ends. So J1 here, the ones who are coming as teachers, the ones who are coming at whatever you're coming at. If you're coming as a J1 exchange student, J1 exchange, especially from Kenya, exchange teacher, J1 anything, make sure if you're applying for the green card, you can get a waiver, request a waiver now. You can apply for a waiver if the program doesn't object. Just start working on the waiver now so that you have that waiver. Because the problem with the J1, so if you have the J1 and you have this home requirement, right? And then you graduate from that school and you change your visa to F1. Maybe you go for a master's or a PhD and they have like F1. You change your J1 and then you get to F1. Guess what? This 2-year requirement follows you. If you go on your H visa, work visa, this 2-year requirement will follow you as much as you're on H1 or you're on whatever in an immigrant. This 2-year home requirement, you cannot wash yourself off of it. It always follows you until you do something with it. I know so many people who are stuck in America because of that requirement that they never fulfilled. So just make sure if you're in J1, especially you're working for a school, don't quit. Let not people talk to you about like quitting anything. Just make sure like when I got out of that school, I applied to like time off and whatever. So I did it the right way. So when I went back and I asked for the no objection letter, because they know my record is clean. I was over there. I was on the president's list. I was, I got all A's. And then when I didn't just run away from school, I asked for permission to leave and they said it was okay. So they gave it to me. So just make sure if you're on J1 and you have the 2-year requirement, don't mess your relationship with that program because you'll need them to get your waiver. And if you're a doctor or whatever, a lot of doctors come on J1 sometimes. You can get a waiver if you work in like, those remote places where people don't want to work. So there's a way to go around it. So you have to just research, do whatever you need to do to get that waiver. Because that waiver is not going away. I've seen people, J1 is the worst visa you can come with. That 2-year requirement is no joke. especially if you go to a program that takes government funding. It's no joke. J1 is not good. Some people had to go home and fulfill the 2-year requirement. It's no joke. If you can come on F1 visa in this country, come on F1. J1 is easy to get for a reason, because they know they will get you on the 2-year home requirement. So that's the. I already spoke about like how to pay the $1. So what you can do after this live, because it's on YouTube, once I end the live, if you go to my YouTube and then go to my live, you will see the video live stream from today, and you can see how to pay the $1, because I already explained. Somebody is asking. All right. And then some people is like, I applied with the correct picture, with correct everything. Why did I not win? And I'm going to explain to you. You did not win because guess what? I just told you 20 million people apply. 20 million. So you have a room. You have a room with 2 seats. And then 10 people get into that room. Everybody can sit on that chair, but you have 2. What are you going to do? Only 2 people can sit on that chair. The 8 people, as much as they have the right requirements, cannot sit on that chair because it's full, right? Same exact concept. 20 million people apply. They can only select 100,000. They can only give 55,000 visas. This year is going to be less. I don't think they'll meet that number. But only 55,000 people can get visas out of 20 million. So even if 100,000, even if 1 million people have the right, correct photos, you're not going to win. Why? Because it's just too many people applying than the number of slots available for you to win. So sometimes it's not like something that you're doing wrong on your end. Sometimes it's just like people just applying, it's too many people. And I'm glad, now it's going to be $1. So everybody who applies is going to be a real person. It's not going to be those erroneous application to apply just to see, So everybody who applies and pays the $1 is going to be a real applicant. So that will probably reduce the number of people we're going to see apply this year. And maybe that will increase your chance of winning. So it's not something that you're doing wrong on your end that's making you not not win. It's not something that you're doing wrong. Sometimes it's just a lot of people applying than the number of visas available. And some people asking, like this one is like, you host the winners, how much do you charge them? It just depends. Like I said, if you want to come to be hosted, if you want your own apartment, there's some people want their own apartment. 1-bedroom house is going to be expensive. 2-bedroom apartment is going to be expensive. Okay, you want a single room, it's going to be average. Maybe 2 people you can share, it's going to be cheaper. So it just depends how much money you have. You have $3,000 a month, you can pay deposit, you send it, you want an apartment, you'll get an apartment. So the charge, depending on what do you want, what are you comfortable with? You want to live a good life, soft life, it's going to be more expensive. You just want to live where you can just start off and then pick up from there, it's going to be cheaper for you. So I cannot tell you that, okay, this is how much I charge. I have to talk to you. What do you want? And then also, what do we have available? You want a self-contained, maybe you want a studio, or you want whatever you want. Maybe you want a 1-bedroom. We don't have 1-bedrooms. Maybe they're all taken. 2 bedrooms, maybe they're all taken. So then we don't have it. So when you apply at that time of application, I look, what do we have at that time? If we have a shared room, I'll be like, oh, we have shared rooms, or single rooms, or 1-bedroom, or whatever we have available. So you apply, tell me what you want, I see what we have available, and we go from there. So it's hard to tell. So I think that's it, right? Let me see. Yeah, I think I'm done. I've been here two and a half hours. That's way long time. All right. Let me see. I have high school with no degree, but I have work experience of more than 10 years for a non-company which deals with hair. I do sales and marketing. Do you have a chance? So that one does not improve your chances of getting selected. Like having work experience doesn't. your chances is just you enter depending on if the computer is luck. If it picks you, it picks you. So your job doesn't matter, and there's no way where the DV lottery will ask you to enter what job you do. So they won't know even you have experience in all those, whatever you're doing. So you just enter, and then once you're selected, then you will go, because you don't have high school, but you have work experience, then you'll go to the website, put in your work experience, see if it qualifies, because you have to have at least 2 years of training, I think. Have training in that job, have experience in that job, and then you got hired. Then you get a letter from that job. Then you get your you get your visa approved using work experience. So don't worry about that until you win. Like I said, now everybody has to apply. Everybody go out and apply. After you win, let's look at if you qualify with other things. As long as you have whatever it takes for now to apply, everybody should be applying. Your country is banned, apply. You don't have high school, apply. You have work experience, apply. You have, like, you're disabled and you think like, oh, maybe disabled people don't qualify, apply. You have, like, some people are worried about having AIDS or HIV. HIV people get a visa. The reason why a lot of people think HIV people, they get like denied a visa is not because of the HIV. It's because of the TB that goes with the HIV, because somebody is immunocompromised. So they go there and then they find TB. So they will deny a visa, not for the HIV, because of the TB. But if you have somebody, maybe they're HIV, they're on medication, their viral load is very low and stuff like that, they're healthy, they don't have like any diseases, no TB, they get visas. So having HIV and AIDS is not going to make you get denied. Some people are like diabetes, they have maybe high blood pressure, they have they have everything, like whatever you have, as long as it's not communicable disease like TB, like you cough and literally you infect somebody with it. If it's not that, you're going to get a visa. Gonorrhea, I said gonorrhea, you can't get a visa, or syphilis or whatever stuff like that, and somebody said, oh, syphilis is very common here. We thought like this is like coughing over here. Over there you might think it's coughing, but over here they take it seriously. So just some leprosy, some measles. So there's some stuff that you can spread to other people. That's why at some point, like, they needed a COVID vaccine just because of the communicable part of it. But if whatever you have is contained just with you, somebody's like they're on dialysis or they're, that will not make them deny you a visa, as long as anything that is classified under Class A medical conditions. Other than that, everything else, like even TB, there's 2 of them. So TB, you gotta have the active TB. Active, you have the active disease, you can spread it. But if you have the latent TB, you have it. You do a chest X-ray. They look at the chest X-ray. They see, oh, okay, there's this stuff, scarring sometimes in your the way your X-ray looks, and they're like, this person does not have a TB, but it was exposed at some point. So like sometimes you have somebody who's sick, they have TB, but because you're around them, either you're caring for them or whatever, you get exposed. And then when you get exposed, then you develop like, there's latent TB is in there, is not active. You're going to get a visa if it's not active. The only person who gets denied or who gets put on treatment is somebody whose TB is active. Like active, they can infect somebody else. They check your sputum, the sputum comes back positive and stuff like that. Then you won't get a visa until you get treatment. That's why a lot of people who have TB, they don't get a visa. They don't deny you. They just tell you go get treatment. But because TB treatment takes 6 months, 7 months, sometimes 9 months, sometimes a year, until you have a clear X-ray, then you within this time period, by the time you come back to the embassy for your DV lottery, then they'll have completed processing the visa or the whatever for the next fiscal year. So then you don't get denied a visa, you just run out of time, so yeah, so that's about it. I think I'm done. I gotta go. All right, thanks for listening to me. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Please, if you've not already done so, please subscribe to my channel. On my YouTube is NAFULA SHARLEEN. Facebook, I go by NAFULA SHARLEEN. Like I said, on my Facebook is verified. So if you don't see that blue tick, just know you're talking to a scammer. So that's that. Subscribe. If you have any questions, you can just keep typing in the comment section. The next time I come live, I'll just write all of them down. And then I can just answer. The person asking about the payment for the dollar, again, once I end this live, if you go back and rewatch live on my YouTube, you're going to see where I talked about the dollar and how to pay for that. Otherwise, for my viewers, thanks for support. Thanks for the love. I'm sorry I can't come live all the time because as much as I'm on social media, I do not like social media. So I'm here because I have to give information, but I do not like social media. So I'll be coming live until the application period is all done. Then I'll go into hiding and then I'll come back when the results are out. Other than that, thanks for watching. Like I said, thanks for your support. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the follow. And see you next time. Bye. All right, let me end my Facebook.